How can you relocate to or study in France? That's what I'm going to talk about on this channel today. Hey there, my name is Olumide Adeleye. I hope you've missed me because it's been a while since I posted on YouTube, but I'm glad to be back. I moved over to France within the month, and it's been an exciting journey. I'd like to talk about it. I'd like to talk about the journey so far. So, if you are looking to maybe relocate to France or you're looking to study in France, this video is for you. Let me begin by clearing some of the doubts that you may have. So, first of all, you do not need to understand French to study in France, particularly if you're looking at higher education, and even better still, if you're looking at something like a master's degree. There are English taught programs, so you do not need to understand French to study in France. Am I saying that understanding French is a bad idea? No, absolutely not. If you want to study in a place, it's a good idea to understand all you can about their culture and their language. But what I am saying is that it is not compulsory that you understand French in order to study in France. Let me clear the second doubt. I'm sure you think it is something very expensive, right? I've met people who were very surprised when I told them how much the entire process cost me. There are cheap schools in France. In fact, I sometimes wonder why people spend so much money in places like the UK when they can find cheaper options, way cheaper options all around Europe. So there are many cheap schools, as cheap as less than 5,000 euros, less than 2,000 euros, in some cases less than 1,000 euros. Yes, that is absolutely correct. So you can find such schools in France. Now, let's get into the video itself. How do you make the move? What do you need to do if you'd like to relocate to France, maybe for study purposes? How do you go about it? Before I tell you, let me say something very quickly. Please make sure that you click on the subscribe button so that you can get more and more of my content. I post about how you can advance your career. I'm a techie, so I post about that as well. I post about business analysis and the entire IT value chain and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that kind of information, please make sure that you click on the subscribe button so that you can have more information from me. I'd also appreciate it if you could click on the like button and you comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like me to talk more about. And I'd be happy to oblige you. Okay? Thank you. Thank you for your support. So, how do you make the move? Well, it depends on the country that you're from. So, in my case, I am from Nigeria, and Nigeria and a number of other countries are covered under something called the Études en France procedure. Permit my French. My French is horrible. I'm just trying to understand the language now. But there's a procedure that people from countries like Nigeria are required to follow. And the idea is very simple. You sign up with a body known as Campus France. And there's going to be a Campus France in your country, especially if your country is one of the countries listed under the Études en France procedure. So in Nigeria, I went to the Campus France office. Well, before going at all, I had signed up on the website. So you would be required to sign up, and then after signing up, you would typically be required to pay an amount of money. I think it's just 50,000 naira. It's a reasonable fee. But with that amount of money, you would be able to search for programs in France, and you would be able to apply for admission to all of them. I think the 50,000 naira covers maybe, is it five or something like that? I'll confirm the number and put it on the screen. So you can sign up with them, and you would be able to apply to all of those schools. And basically, Campus France acts like a guide. They would guide you to make the choice, to choose the school and stuff like that. But you see, I didn't exactly do it that way. What I did was even different. What I did was I found a course. So interestingly, I wasn't exactly looking to move to France. I was just looking for a course that would encapsulate what I was passionate about. And that for me was IT and education. So I wanted something that would combine both. And I found this course that I fell in love with, and it happened to be in France. So I applied for admission, I got the admission, and it was after getting the admission that I then signed up with Campus France. So that's a route you can follow as well, especially for a master's program. I found the admission, it was an English taught course. And after getting the admission, I then needed to apply for my visa and all of that. So I signed up with Campus France. And after signing up with them, I was required to upload my documentation, my passport, my previous certificates. So I think I uploaded my degree certificate. I know a friend who was asked to upload our WAEC certificate, even though what she was applying for was a master's. But I uploaded those, and I uploaded some other things as well. I needed to also write a letter of motivation, explaining why I wanted to study in France and to study that course. So I uploaded all of those and submitted on the Campus France portal. And after submitting, after my documentation had been checked, they then requested that I pay the Campus France fee, which was 50,000 naira. And for people who are watching this who are not Nigerians, 50,000 naira, going by the official rate, is just a little above $100. So I think the standard fee is something in that range. So I paid 50,000 naira, and I then booked an interview. So after paying that fee, I was eligible to select a date for an interview. And I went for the interview. I was asked questions like what my motivations were, why I was interested in the study. They were basic questions. The person asking was very relatable. I think the main idea was just to find out if I was genuine about what I was after and not just looking to maybe escape from Nigeria. And after answering all of that, I was then I got a code from Campus France, and I needed that, so I had to submit that along with my application for a visa to the embassy. So I submitted it. I submitted at the VFS office in Lagos, and within, I think, about 1 week, I already had my visa. So it was that straightforward. Just for the purpose of somebody who needs this and who wants to know the specific details. Some of the things that you're going to be required to submit are things like your financial statements. So who's sponsoring you? If you have a sponsor, who preferably should be somebody who's related to you, maybe like a parent. So if you have a sponsor, your sponsor would need to submit a proof of income, and the income needs to be above, it must be such that the person can afford to give you at least 600, I think it's 615 euros per month. That's the amount. You have to prove that you're able to get 615 euros per month for the duration of time that you're applying for. So if you're applying for a student visa, typically you would be applying for a visa that is going to be the one known as VLSTS, which is like a 1 year visa. It's a long-term visa. So if you're applying for that, it implies that you need to prove that you can afford 615 euros for a 1 year period. So 615 euros times 12. Some people argue that the calculation is actually times 9, based on the working time of the school, excluding holidays. But either way, you need something in that range. Campus France actually provided an estimate in Naira. If I remember well, what they asked for was, I think, around 3.5 million Naira or thereabouts. So you need to prove that you have a sponsor that can afford to give you that. If you're using your own account, obviously your account must show that you have access to that kind of money, and preferably show how you got it as well. Maybe you can attach income statements, like a pay slip or something like that. But if you're going to make use of a sponsor, the sponsor should be earning, I think, up to at least 3 times that amount, because the idea is to show that the sponsor can easily afford to give you 615 euros every month. Okay, so that's one part that many people have trouble with. So make sure that you get that documentation correct. I would say that if you're looking to do this from Nigeria, Campus France is going to make the journey very easy for you and very smooth. So you would want to communicate with them very well. You would want to make sure that you get their advice. I would recommend that you can actually start up with Campus France, unlike what I did, which was to find the school and then apply to Campus France after gaining admission. You can go to Campus France from the start. You can start with their website and pay the fee and get them to, they're going to, on their website, you'd have a list of schools, you'd be able to shortlist, you'd be able to check prices and stuff like that. That can help to make your journey maybe even smoother. Although, to be honest, I felt that mine was really smooth. I wasn't, there was no stress or pressure at any point in time. Apart from the proof of funds, of course, you need to prove that you have had enough education to be able to apply for what you're applying for. So you must have degree certificates if you're applying for a master's degree, or you would have your SSC certificate if you're applying for a bachelor's degree. So you need to have the qualifications that show that you are eligible to go for the next level that you're applying for. You need to, of course, have a passport and just the general things that you would need elsewhere. One last part that I would like to touch on is the part of getting the schools. So like I said, you can go through Campus France, through the Campus France website. But if you don't do that, you can also search for schools on your own. And I would say that if you want to travel, make Google your friend. Learn how to search for information. Okay, learn how to search for information. I always find it to be astounding when many people tell you that they have plans to relocate and they don't know much about where they're going or about the options that they ought to be very familiar with. If you're looking for schools and you're trying to get cheap schools, search by relevant terms, like affordable schools in France, things like that. And then go on to the websites of each of these schools, look for the English versions, and then search, using things like tuition so that you can see the affordable schools and then the affordable courses, because there are some schools that are affordable but they have a few courses that are expensive. There are also courses that are cheap and they are in schools that you would otherwise say are expensive. So look at such options. Another thing along that line is the possibility to get a scholarship. So if you apply on time, there is a possibility that you would get a scholarship. Make sure you don't miss the application window. You might be able to get a scholarship. France actually has a generous amount of scholarships. So you don't want to miss them. Make sure you time your application. Generally, I would say that if you're planning to resume in September, you should look at starting the process very early in the year. So go on the Campus France website, familiarize yourself with the timetable, with their schedule, so that you apply at the right time and then you're positioned for a scholarship. So those are the things I can think about. I'm sure that there are many other things that I need to talk about and which you would like to know about. So if you have anything that you'd like me to mention or to explain, please feel free, put it in the comments and maybe I'd make a video to explain things further. So just put it in the comments and don't forget, subscribe to this channel, leave a like, leave a comment. Please do that, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Do have a lovely day. Bye.